Welcome to the
Sure.
show. We don't have a name yet, but eventually we'll get there. So, my name is Cheng. Hello. I am a senior insurance advisor working in the industry for about 12 years already. And today, my guest, or could be another host.
Wow.
Wow.
That was not in the contract.
Just got real. His name is GE.
Hi.
Or he can be known as Fox.
Yes.
Can be known as Mr. Power
Yeah.
Ranger.
I'm. You can call me Fox or GE. I'm a certified financial planner. We're colleagues within BRL's agency. We've been in the industry collectively, I think 20 years already.
Yeah, around there.
By the powers combined.
Pooh. Anyways, we are currently practitioners of financial planning and insurance, so that's why I think it makes sense for us to come in and do this topic also. The topic we're doing today is to talk about the new up and coming implementation by the government of Brunei to talk about the medical insurance requirements, right? So
For foreigners, right?
for foreigners, we're gonna flash it out on the screen so that you have some point of reference, but we do have it somewhere
Written
here,
Yeah.
and we're gonna deep dive into it. Let's talk about why the government of Brunei would even want to, set this up. Thoughts?
Well, I think number one, it would definitely be because currently the primary requirement for foreigners to work in Brunei is the companies need to buy them medical insurance, right? It's
Yep.
called Workman Comp. And Workman Comp so far has been just a minimal paperwork requirement only.
Yep.
And when it comes time for claims or if anything happens to the worker, then they face financial issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of restriction. It's not saying the product itself is bad, but it's designed as a very entry level,
Correct.
like baseline, just to get the requirement done so that we can get a license. But then we do come across a lot of inquiries or challenges when it comes to that. Is that when it comes to a bit more major illnesses, there's always not enough,
Correct.
right? And that leads us to number two, which is, what if they do get sick and they do require a hefty amount of payment for the
Correct.
treatments, right? I think, Fox, you told me recently that not too recent, but you had a similar
Experience
on
Yeah.
that, right? Can you share with us also?
The story I told Cheng was we used to have a caretaker. Our insurance for him was the Workman Comp 10K. So what happened was there was one night suddenly he got a heart attack. He said he felt unwell.
Okay.
Yeah, then that morning we just rushed him to the hospital because he really felt unwell. So suddenly my wife called me and said, hey, the doctor said you need to give him this injection, And the injection cost $3,000. And I heard $3,000. I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit of money, right?
Okay, easy for you, right? You rich.
Wow. back then not rich yet. Even now not rich yet lah. 3,000 is still hefty. But nonetheless, while I was trying to process that $3,000, she continued and say, doctor said we need to give that shot within 15 minutes. Otherwise it won't work anymore.
Oh.
I was like, oh shit, of course say okay lah, right? Otherwise say no way, let him die, right?
Can you say no though? Just curious.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
If you say I don't want to pay for it, then it's up to him whether he can pay for it.
Oh, so that it falls down to the...
Yeah.
But is he conscious at that time?
I think he was, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was such a short timeline. There's no way for us to really,
Yeah.
You cannot shop around, right?
True.
Hey, you have a cheaper shot,
Can discount, no?
Yeah. The government confirm won't discount for you. Yeah, long story short, administer.
Okay.
My wife made the call because she's like, there's no need for me to talk to you already because the time is so short. I was like, yeah. I would have done the same.
Right.
So after the stabilization, he needed to go to Glen Eagles to get heart surgery,
Okay.
bypass. So I had to go there first to understand what was required. And wow, smart, they have package on there.
Oh.
Yeah, got a 3 pricing package. The cheapest was 14K. The cheapest. So financial concern, I only look at the 14K. Then they're like, okay, in order to administer, you need to deposit 10K.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, can you take card? Cannot.
Okay.
Need cash some more.
Wow.
Go to the bank, withdraw everything. Wow, within that day, there's so many things happening. We pay the deposit. He got in, do a double or triple bypass. I forgot. After he decided he wanted to go back to his home country to do follow up medical treatment lah, because it's expensive here, ma. So understand, no? So at the end of the day, we spent about 17K, but because of the workman income, we were reimbursed 10K lah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
out of pocket 7K.
out of pocket 7K.
Okay.
So I think this new regulation that the government is going to enforce will help people like me who don't see that pitfall, you see. So instead of paying that full 17K, likely we don't need to even pay a single cent because of the new regulation.
Yeah, I think if it is what it is, I think it will be a benefit to both the employer and also the employee side.
Correct.
Because now, as an employer, I wouldn't worry too much about the financial costs, since I know insurance is there to back up any emergency procedure like what yours went through. And also, as an employee, I know I'm not using my employer's money, which sometimes we do understand, it's
people money,
so it's not
Feel
so
bad, right?
nice to use also, and also your employee was quite lucky that you had the extra cash
means,
to actually pay for it. If we were to ask around, I think hardly people have around 17K ready to be paid out, especially when they need it to be cash also, right?
Correct.
So sometimes people need to get financing facilities or even credit, and if it's not available for them, then what to do?
Saktam.
Then they might have to be just sent back
Correct.
for treatment only, which it may be too late already.
Correct.
Some of these things cannot be delayed which I understand also when it comes to critical illness like this. Do you foresee any concerns?
Definitely, it's basically extra cost on the employer, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you're paying for 10K now, and the government, I think is increasing tenfolds, right? 100K for a handful of employees.
Yep.
So you expect the premium to be 10x.
Okay, I don't think it will be that bad.
Okay.
Because a lot of large number ma.
True.
For insurance, the higher the coverage, usually the cheaper it will
become,
be.
right?
Just because of like large amount discounts and whatnot. And I think because they're gonna enforce it nationwide, not just like selective people only, eventually, it should increase the pool of people in there. So of course they will be increased, but I don't see it 10x.
Yeah, it won't
like,
10x
like the medical.
Just scare you only, clickbait.
10x I happy lah, as an advisor.
I agree with what you say lah. We can even see like on our normal term life plans, it's cheaper when you buy higher amount, right? It will happen that way lah, because these workman com coverages are basically term plans, right? They don't get any savings elements added to it. So we will see that kind of premium scaling.
I have a different concern, which is on the the physicals of the employees, actually.
Physical as in medical car.
So which is like their age. What if they are in the later years? Like are they still able to buy this insurance? And if there is going to be a premium difference for them? Because in life insurance, there is a difference when it comes to age and premium, right? The older it is, the higher risk it is. So then we can expect to pay more lah. So I don't know with 100K, maybe back then 10K is not a significant amount for an insurance company, but if we 10x it, it can scale up quite fast and quite scary also. So I don't know how they're gonna tackle this and how they're gonna take this into consideration for their new plans also.
How do you think they would do though? In your experience as an advisor?
I think if it's a mandatory one, with the law of large number, they could probably just average it out and just increase the premium and consider that they have the younger ones and the older ones in it, and then they come to a middle point and say, okay, the young one are gonna cost like $100, the elderlies are gonna cost $500, so they come into the average like $300. Or it could be they just based on age, which is like if you're older, then you pay more.
If it was up to me, I think I would do a copay system. To keep the prices lower.
Okay.
Yeah. So copay is when you will need to fork out a small amount, but then the insurer also fork out the majority.
Yeah.
I think that would be one way I would implement it to keep the cost lower for the majority lah, because not everyone will claim right? Also, we can leave the door open to a 100% insured package as well. You just pay a little bit extra for a premium, then everything covered by insurance. You don't need to copay.
Yeah. I think another way to lower the premium more is also by excess. Meaning like the first, I don't know, $500 is not claimable. So then it will eliminate all of the very small claims, and
Yeah.
only the major ones will be claimable. So that can be one of the tactics to reduce the premium further as well.
Correct.
I want to touch on the core pay that you said about. I think typically what we see is about 90-10 or 80-20. So what it means is, for example, if the whole bill is 100,000, then the insurance company is gonna bear 90%, which is 90K,
90K,
and then as the employer or employee, they're gonna bear 10K. So which will make the risk to the insurance company lower, then they're willing to make the premium lower.
Correct.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what is co-pay, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, then the story goes back to I need to have 10K saved up.
Still.
So that means
For each.
we have to for each person, and then that means it's up to the company to do a balancing act already, to see whether they want to take that risk for a lower premium or just pay the full premium and get the 100%.
At this point, we are more on like just discussing because it's still so early in the stage where we don't have full disclosure and information from the government also on what exactly needs to be implemented.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we were talking about what kind of coverage they actually need, right?
Yep.
And then we are not that clear.
Yeah.
From a black and white perspective.
Yeah. We do deal with like visa application as well, and for visa application, sometimes they do require medical insurance upon renewal or application. Well, the thing is, they do say they need medical, but we have had success with personal accident insurance, which they consider as medical also.
Because it has a medical element to it.
Yep.
In an accident case, right?
Yeah.
But now our concern is, what if it's like my story where it's purely medical? The PA will not be able to cover, right?
Yeah.
So will they still accept it as is for the purpose of documentation, or are they gonna be more strict?
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to see how that pans out. I am more concerned about how they define it because in terms of insurance, there's so many subsections also.
Correct.
Like when we talk about medical, I would say there are two major types. One is the critical illness coverage, one is the hospital and surgical. So both, I think, makes up part of the medical insurance. Although when normally we talk about medical, people always look at HNS, hospital and surgical.
Correct.
But critical illness insurance also does cover, which is when there is a diagnosis of like critical illness, such as cancer, stroke, heart attack, then they receive a lump sum payment, and they can use this payment to actually seek further treatment. So that can be medical, but we also don't know if that is actually acceptable in the context of the law.
In your scenario, CI is actually more expensive as well now, right?
Yeah.
Compared to hospitalization and surgical. So that one also will play the factor, right?
Yeah.
If you have a company that has 100 foreign workers, every single one of them have 100K CI. I mean, majority of Bruneians don't even have 50K CI. Imagine them needing to buy 100K CI for foreign expats who probably have a 2-year contract only, right? Those kind of outlay probably will not be financially feasible for them as well.
True. Another concern will be people with, they're not as healthy anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Or they have like pre-existing condition. Maybe they have diabetes, but they're still in control, or they have like high blood pressure, cholesterol.
Correct.
Those are lifestyle illnesses. Very manageable, but when it comes to insurance application, because they are at a higher risk group.
And usually insurance don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, it's either they will hopefully approve, or they will approve with exclusion, or number 3, approve with loading, which is they will approve the case but make it more expensive, or number 4, reject
outright.
right? So it depends on how well maintained it is also, and also their age, a lot of factors. So I'm not sure when it comes to this one, since it's medical also, this will definitely affect their rating or how they process the application. So we don't know how they're gonna tackle this.
That's true, because like you said, all these factors come into the process of underwriting in the industry. So underwriting is where the company does their assessment on each individual person or each company. If you talk about all these things, right, companies that are in construction will get hit the most and more. Right? Because not only construction is high risk, they have this health issue. GG, man.
What's next?
What's next is really, we want to see the Labour Department clarify with a lot of things, right? Especially like what kind of coverage are they looking for? Because I've made a call to them, asked them what kind of coverage do you need? And they say, oh, anything, they cover medical.
Yeah.
Then I ask them, is personal accident possible or not?
Yep.
The person on the phone say, oh, kalau anything medical come up and the insurance cover is acceptable. So I told them, but personal accident only covers for accident.
Yep.
If it's purely medical in nature, it's not covered. Then they told me, oh, then personal accident cannot satisfy these needs.
Yeah.
But we've had varying successes
Yeah.
From different colleagues calling in and different people answering. So it's up in the air, right?
Yeah. So they have to be a bit more
Black and white.
black and white with like, oh, what constitute into a medical insurance in their context. So at least us advisors and insurance companies also can take into consideration. For people who are affected or employees who are affected, what do you have for them?
Come talk to
Actually, I can
us.
say lah.
Come talk to me, don't talk to Jay. Just kidding. Actually, both of us, we deal with insurance as a holistic manner, right? We don't just deal with life, we do with general as well. So for people who are curious on where to proceed, what to do if they have adequate coverage or anything, they can always approach us. I think our contacts will be in the show notes in the description.
Yep.
So you can easily contact us if you want to have further discussions on the matter.
My advice is to not panic and just go and randomly buy any insurance product, especially at this moment, because
Correct.
it's still too early. We still have another
3 months,
4 months left before we actually reach July. So
Why
no
July?
need- I didn't lie, it's true. So there's still a lot of time, and I'm hoping the insurance company will come up with something to actually address this also. So at least by that time, we can give a more proper solution.
Background.
Yeah, rather than we trying to get mismatch of every insurance possible to satisfy that requirement, and then end up it's not really usable, or it doesn't fit into the description of what the government wants also.
Correct.
Right?
Speaking
Yeah.
Speaking of July, I think it should be said that the implementation will be in 2 phases, right? I think we forgot to mention that in the beginning, where the first implementation will be phase 1 in July of this year, 2025, and the second implementation will be January of next year, 2026.
2026, yes. We will flash it up on the screen for you to have a look as well.
What kind of advice can you give for people who are curious about insurance in general?
I think we can help them to review their current insurance coverage. It's always a good idea, especially if it's been a while since you last met any advisors. So to get a review of your policy, who knows, it does actually met with the medical requirement. Because even though we are not very sure what is the actual requirement, but it's really hard for them to run away from medical insurance and critical illness also lah.
There's a rule of thumb to it.
As long as you hit both, confirm already happy liao lah.
Turns out you need a third one.
Don't worry, by that time we will have it. But I will suggest to always review your insurance policies, because time change.
Yeah.
Like new insurance products will come out, which sometimes have better coverage,
Yep.
better premium, more affordable premium when I say better premium also.
correct.
Or like features like limited pay, stuff like that. Which
Extensions.
yeah, or even like more extensive coverage, right? Like last time, back then, like when I started, which is dinosaur years ago, they
know how
only
old it
cover
is
for critical illness. But now recently they've been moving on to like early stage, and I'm hoping them to actually even cover for like mental illnesses, which
Certain countries have
our
already.
Singapore or Malaysia neighbors are already starting to actually go into that area.
Correct.
So hopefully we can actually do more of that lah, with all these things coming in also.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think one of a very good way for the people watching to engage with us is to drop their questions in the comments below, and then we can answer to the best we can.
Yeah.
We can even make separate videos individually on
Yeah.
that.
I mean, if the question is really good and it garners a separate video.
I know you're pressuring them. They don't want to ask already. What if my question is not good? There's no such thing as bad question lah.
No, there's stupid question. No, just kidding.
No, there's no stupid question. Only stupid answers.
Hey, then the pressure on me
Yeah,
already.
you're correct. Don't pressure them.
To summarize everything, I would say medical insurance, it could be critical illness, it could be hospital and surgical, it could be even PA in this context. So at this moment, don't panic, don't need to go out and rush and buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if you're an employer. You have time lah.
Still have time lah, no pressure lah. Can always look for us. Don't need to stress that enough.
I think you can actually do a splice on every part that you said.
Like
Come
the
look for-
counter,
look
the
for us.
counter. Hey, gotta find food, ma.
You think the video equipment pay for itself?
Yeah, but
Summary would be really, number one, we are waiting for further info. As far as we know for sure the coverage limit we need is just the extent of the coverage only, right?
yeah.
Then beyond that, I'm pretty sure closer to implementation, the government will run more and more seminars and workshops and briefings for employers who are affected. So keep an eye out for that.
If you are concerned about it, please focus on our channel because we definitely want to cover on that. Since this year, that is our main focus also, is to help employers like you to have better insurance solutions, right?
So we are supporting individuals as well as corporations when it comes to planning. So if you're looking for things like cheaper employee packages or even individualistic, holistic planning, you can always reach out to us.
Yep. And that's a wrap. See you in the next one. Bye bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share with all your friends.
Peace out!